Hello students, I am Dipali Devi, your geography teacher. Today I am going to discuss one new chapter, chapter number 3, Rotation and Revolution from your textbook. In this chapter, we are going to discuss mainly these points: the daily rotation of Earth, the annual revolution of Earth, seasons, solstices and equinoxes. We have learned in the previous chapters that Earth rotates on its axis and also revolves around the Sun in a fixed elliptical path. These two types of motions of Earth are known as rotation and revolution, respectively. Let us learn more about these two motions of Earth. The Earth rotates based on axis and revolves around the Sun in a fixed elliptical path. There are two things, that rotation and revolution. As a result of the rotation, we get the day and night. As a result of the revolution, we get the year. That means to rotate, the Earth rotates based on axis takes 24 hours and revolve around the Sun takes 365 days. That means 1 year. So as a result of the rotation day and night happening, the Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation and it moves from west to east. Rotation causes days and nights to follow each other in a regular pattern, non-stop, ongoing process, continuous process, which is repeated every 24 hours. Every 24 hours means the 1 day. 1 day. So the rotation and revolution, the two things, but these are related with each other. So rotation is spinning of Earth on its axis from west to east. Earth takes about 24 hours to complete one rotation around its axis. The daily motion of Earth that makes one rotation in 24 hours is known as Earth day. The ongoing process, the continuous process that the Earth rotates based on axis, it takes time 24 hours, and this duration, this period of time is known as the Earth day, and the duration of time is 24 hours. So this is the axis, this line is known as axis, the making 23.5-degree angle. Based on this line, the Earth axis, the Earth rotates. So to rotate one spin, it takes 24 hours time or 1 day, and this period is known as Earth day. Okay. The result of rotation and revolution is the happening the day and night. We get the day and night. The axis is an imaginary line passing through the center of Earth. North Pole and South Pole are the two ends of the axis. So this axis touching the two poles. This is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. And this line is completely the imaginary line. North Pole and South Pole are the two ends of this axis. Earth's axis is tilted an angle of 23.5 degree. This is from the vertical. The plane formed by Earth's orbit is known as the orbital plane. Earth's axis makes an angle of 66.5 degree with its orbital plane. You see, this is the plane, this is the orbital plane, the dotted line, you see, this line is 23.5 degree. This is, you see, half degree south, and this angle is the 66.5 degree angle, and this is known as the orbital plane. This is known as orbital plane, so making 66.5 degree angle. The axis of Earth always remains tilted in the same direction. The position of the axis, that it is always tilted in the same direction, same manner. It means the tilt of Earth is fixed and it does not change. The speed of rotation of Earth is greatest at the equator because it is the longest latitude. It is approximately 1675 km per hour. As the length of the parallels of latitude goes on decreasing towards the poles, the speed decreases to zero at the poles. So, you see, this is the picture, this is the picture, and this is the axis. This is the axis, and you see, always we are calling as the 0 degree latitude. This one, 0 degree latitude, is known as the equator. Already we know that the whole earth is not exactly round. The shape of the earth, we know that the geoid shape or the spherical shape. That means the middle part, the middle part is larger than the polar regions. You see, I repeat, then the polar regions, you see, the polar regions are narrower. The polar regions are narrower, the North Pole and the South Pole, and the equatorial part is broader. So it takes time 1675 km per hour because of the equator is the longest latitude, and the other latitudes gradually decreasing towards the poles and meeting at the 0 degree at the pole, meeting at 0 degree at poles. So as the length of parallels of latitude goes on decreasing towards the poles, the speed decreases to zero at the poles. Effects of rotation. So what are the effects of rotation? As a result of rotation, what we get like that? The rotation of Earth causes day and night. As Earth rotates, only one half of it faces the sun at a time and is illuminated, while the other half away from the sun remains in darkness. At the time of the rotation, the Earth facing towards the sun and the part which part is facing towards the sun is called as the daytime, and which part is the away from the sun, then this part is remains dark because of lack of sunlight. So remaining the darkness. The part that faces the sun experiences day while the other part experiences night. The speed of rotation has resulted in the peculiar geoid shape of Earth. I already told you the Earth is not exactly round shape. The actual shape of the Earth is known as the geoid shape. The meaning of the geoid is the Earth-like shape that is bulging at the equator and flattened at the poles. That means the equatorial part is the broader part and the polar part is the narrower. So the it is flattened towards the poles. Heavenly bodies like the sun and the moon seem to have from east to west. All the the planets, the moon like that, these are moving around the sun from west to east, from east to west. Heavenly bodies like the sun and the moon seem to move from east to west. This is because Earth rotates from west to east. The Earth rotating around the sun from west to east, but the other heavenly bodies, these are seem to be moved from east to west. The rotation of Earth and the gravity of the moon and the sun cause the alternate rise and fall of the oceans called tides. You will get in the other chapters that what is tide, the how these are created like that. So the creation of the tides, it is happening in the oceans. As a result of the gravity of the sun, moon, and the earth, and the position of the earth resulted the tides of the ocean. That means the rise and fall of the ocean water because of the location and the gravity of sun, moon, and earth. So, okay, students, this much for today. We will discuss the circle of elimination part in our next class. Thank you.